Not every developer understands sustainability, what green building means. They don't even know what are the integrity, what are the things that you can put in, or what are the things you need to design. The truth of the matter, solar is good, but it's actually beyond infusing solar into your houses. Because the moment you put solar in your house, you say, oh, it's not a green building. That's not green building. That's just one of the amenities, right? So I think there's a knowledge gap. There's a need for developers to educate themselves properly to understand what green building really is.
Hello everyone, my name is Sarafina Daudazuka and today we'll be exploring how sustainable real estate shapes future investments. Here with me today is...
Hi, my name is Prince Oji and I'm a strategy officer from Mshel Homes.
Welcome to the show, Prince Oji.
Hi Sarafina.
Hi. So today we'll be discussing how sustainable real estate shapes future investments. Do you know, it's very appalling to see that 37% of greenhouse gases emission come from buildings. So it is very critical for us to identify how can we do things sustainably, because as much as they emit that much greenhouse gases, it can also be the solution to stop emitting as much greenhouse gases as we emit at the moment. So the first question is, what does sustainable real estate really mean? Like, how can we define sustainable real estate?
Okay, I think I would even say one of the favorite definitions of sustainability that I love is meeting the present needs, right, without hampering on the future usage of the resources. Okay, so I think I would say sustainable real estate basically just covers from the design to the construction of building. You know, basically we always call it green building, and that we're talking about eco-friendly living, eco-friendly buildings. You know, when we talk about energy efficiencies, we talk about managing the resources like the water, green areas when it comes to building. So it's important for us to understand that when we are looking at sustainable real estate, we're talking about building structures that promotes the core ideas of sustainability, right? So I think that's not just what we say about that.
Yes, that is well said, and honestly, because the fact that we should realize building things with energy efficiency, waste reduction, optimization of resources is literally the future. It's not even the future, it's actually the now of construction and so much more. So, Mr. Prince, why do you think sustainability is becoming a key factor in today's investment?
You know, I think I conducted research sometime this year, and I found out that there are more, when it comes to the business world, people are becoming more sustainability conscious when it comes to consumers, when it comes to buyers. So I was even shocked when I saw the statistics, how that people are more interested in buying products that have a track record of sustainability. And I think this is something that is seeping into the real estate industry. It hasn't really been a thing thus far, but in more recent years, it has been a concern for investors. Investors want to, you know, invest in buildings, in properties, in real estate basically, where they know that it is sustainable. It can withstand climate shocks, environmental shocks. It can withstand, you know, anything you can think about. Like, I mean, you can see cases of erosion, cases of hurricane and all that. This has become a matter because, I mean, from the stories we read about flood and everything, trust me, if the houses are sustainable, it was built with sustainability in focus, I don't think some of those houses will actually have issues, right? Or we talk about fire. You know, so I think these are things that are getting to the mind of investors. You get?
Yes, you're certainly right. I also want to add something to that. Just like you said, people are becoming more conscious when it comes to environmental impact, because this is like climate change is literally our today's issue. But one thing investors also look out for in, like, just like you said, one thing is the resilience. It can actually stand against every single thing. And also, you know, sustainable buildings have low maintenance rates. So you don't really have to spend much to maintain such buildings, which is also a plus for the investors.
I agree with you.
So, Mr. Prince, we've actually delved into what sustainable real estate is, and we have kind of factored out why investors are interested. But for our viewers to understand, what does a sustainable property look like? If I see a property at first glance, what are the features that stand out for me? Is it the building materials? Is it the amenities? What stands out exactly?
So I think about this, right? It's a bit tricky, right? Because there is more than to what meets the eye. You know, this very popular idiom that we have. But I would say one of the things you get to know when it comes to sustainable property, right, Two key things I would say. One, certifications. It's okay to check the certifications. We talk about BREEAM, we talk about EDGE, we talk about LEED certifications. Right? These are certifications that shows that your design is sustainable. However, even beyond the certificates, right, we could look at some of the amenities, where we talk about energy efficiency. What form of energy is being used, right? We're talking about renewable energy, not getting to a place where they tell you it's sustainable, a property that is sustainable, and then you're saying generator. I mean, you see it emitting so much gas, and we are saying it's that. So these are things you can look at. Look at the amenities. Talk about the water system. How is it? How is it structured, right? You can even look down to the building materials. What are the things used in it? I think these are some of the things beyond the certifications that people can look into. People who are really interested, in investing in sustainable properties. These are things that they can look into and say, these are things you can just check. Exactly. I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you, because there's a very thin line between greenwashing and what really is a sustainable building. And this is what distincts them, the certification and the features involved. But let's even talk more about sustainable policies here in Nigeria and also globally. So do you have any thing to say about the LEED, the BREEAM, EDGE, all these kind of certifications? How important are they for sustainable practices in Nigeria and the world?
I think I would say for Nigeria, we have a gap.
Yeah.
I think I was just checking our policies a few weeks ago, and I found out that the policies that really speak to sustainability just revolves around climate change, which is okay, which is not even fully implemented. I'm sorry to say that, right? However, when it comes to sustainable real estate, we don't really have policies that speaks directly to it, right? So I would say that, honest opinion, I think it's important for Nigeria to learn from the developed countries and see how they're doing it. You mentioned, I think I even said initially, BREEAM, EDGE certifications, and LEED, right? Talking about the designs. This certification shows that they are verified buildings. Do you get that these buildings have been verified? They've checked it. It ticks the boxes for sustainability. Do you get? So I think there's a lot for us to learn in Nigeria, right? Especially when it comes to policies. I think it would be very interesting if the government can bring incentives. For example, tax rebates, reducing tax on sustainable properties, or even providing, providing subsidy, that's subsidizing the cost of building sustainable houses. I think this would encourage even developers to go more into sustainability when it comes to development, property development and all that.
Yes, you're certainly right. There's a huge gap, and my fear is, when do we act?
When?
Yes, because I'm tired of hearing 2030, 2050. I want
when
now.
Enough.
Yes, I want now. I want to see the changes now. So yes, regarding the EDGE, this is one of the most known certifications here in Nigeria, which is majorly being given out by the Green Building Council of Nigeria. Yeah. So I think most developers should actually lean into getting certified, because it's home. I'm not telling you to go to the UK to get it. I'm not telling you to go. It's actually home. It's here in Nigeria. So these policies are around us, but it's just for us to see the opportunities it presents and key into these opportunities before it is very late. So taking us to the next question, having said what really stands out for a sustainable building, how do we know the difference between what truly is greenwashing and green building in Nigeria? Because I think there's a very thin line. People mostly use eco-friendly terminologies without really implementing the realities of what it takes to have sustainable properties. So can you just highlight the difference?
I think I was going to say something around the fact that right now investors, right, like we established before, are getting very interested in sustainable properties, right? Especially we are trying to attract international investors. Exactly. They are more exposed to this. So they themselves can actually tell, they know when you are just greenwashing us. You're using, it's just cliche. Sustainability is not a cliche word. Everybody's saying exactly. Sustainability is now like eco-friendly living. Everybody's saying eco-friendly living. Our product is sustainable. Okay, what's the working? How can you prove that? What are the measurable variables we could look at and say truly it is? And that's why we talked about that certifications. Those certifications actually covers every question, answers every question, right? Because once a building is certified by Edge, by LEED or BREEAM, at least we talked about Edge, is at least currently used in Nigeria. The truth of the matter is, it would make them stand out, and that is true. So greenwashing basically, for our viewers, greenwashing basically just talks about claiming sustainability. Let me use the word claiming. It's just like when you're saying washing. You're just claiming that your building is green. It's a green building, whereas it is not. So it's just like cliche words, buzzwords. Like everybody's just want to sound like, oh, we are doing what is going. Whereas when you check it from the design, from the beginning of the project itself, you didn't even have that in mind. Along the line, you know, and I think that's another thing again that we even need to look at, especially for developers, is the fact that sometimes they might have built their houses, and then it's a case of, oh, maybe they didn't have it in mind. But there's that we call retrofitting, right? Where you can now begin to, you know, redevelop parts of a house and bring in sustainability into it, right? Especially when we talked about energy efficiency and all that. But I think just to answer your question again, just summarize it, I would just say, right, it's important for developers to understand the fact that sustainability is not a buzzword, it's a real thing. Green building is not a buzzword, it's a real thing. And there is how to go about it.
Exactly. Honestly, you know, that's really a very huge point of concern, because you see a lot of projects, eco-friendly, but is it really eco-friendly? How efficient are those buildings? What type of constructing materials do you use and all? So this is truly a call of action. And I think greenwashing defaulters should actually be sanctioned.
To be honest, I think there should be policy for that.
Yes, they should. So the next question is, how do green buildings perform financially compared to traditional Nigerian properties?
How do green buildings worldwide, I'm going to use that word, or let me say in more developed countries, does it perform financially? Yes, statistics shows it that, like I said from the onset, that investors are keen more into sustainable properties, green buildings, right? Because they are trying to reduce the risk involved. But bringing that to the context of my country, our country, Nigeria, to be honest, I think traditional building is still more profitable. Reason being that sustainability has not really been a thing yet. People just give me a house. Let me just live in. I just want to buy a house. I'm not concerned whether your water system is centralized or you are using energy. I can buy gen. NEPA should give us lights and all that. This is not like a general thing, right? I'm just saying some people, just a percentage of the population, right? Or percentage of real estate investors, right? However, I've also come to notice a trend that happens, right, in Nigeria, for example. I've come to realize that many times when disruptions are happening in advanced countries, we get to jump on them 6, 7, 10 years later. And that's the reason why I feel this is very important for even investors, that they should begin to pay attention to them, because a time is coming in the next 6, 7 years, it become a thing. There will be a strong policy, a stronger regulation. It will now become the nuance of the markets, green building everywhere. So it's important for people to start keying into it, even investors right now, because definitely we'll jump on it because it's already a thing in more advanced countries. And like I said, from trends I've checked, I could give you a list of different things that, that it was not a thing. Telecommunication did not happen. It came up and we jumped on it later on. Some of the technology that we are using right now, some of the things we are currently using right now, we are things that we jumped on along the line when I talk about disruptions, right? So I think it's something that if we're going to look at that trend, it's something that it might look like the mass population are not so sustainability conscious yet, but they would be very soon. And so this is very important for even developers, even investors to know about right now.
Yes, you're certainly right, because if you look around, you always see traditional. I think almost 80% or 70% of the Nigerian population like to stick to the tradition, whereby one man wants to have 2,000 square meters all to himself. But like looking at the world population reaching 10 billion in, let's say, 2050, do you think those spaces are efficient enough to contain that population? Exactly. So these are factors that we can also look into, because sustainability, you can have skyscrapers going up in the sky. They are built out of recycled steels, recycled materials, having very good installations that can preserve energy and so much more. But they are also financially beneficial to investors and also developers when you look at it on a large scale. But it has to be a transition. We have to look beyond having mass spaces all to ourselves
Very true.
due to a traditional mindset.
Yeah.
Like we all want to have a compound. You hardly go to US, UK, having
Things are
someone
modernized.
exactly. So it's very good to make good use of spaces in the most efficient way.
Yeah.
So the next question is, are Nigerian investors and developers really prioritizing ESG, or is it just a marketing tool? So for the viewers, ESG basically means environment, social, and governance. These are policies developed by private organizations to ensure that they are complying to environmental, social, and government policies for the betterment of consumers and also their clients. So I think one thing is ESG is not even a thing yet,
At all.
sadly. So even if it's going to be a thing today, I believe it's going to be more of a marketing tool because we are so far away from implementing what really ESG is.
Yeah.
We are so far away from actually, like, advanced worlds are talking about carbon credits. They're talking
Reducing.
about reducing greenhouse gas emissions, but an average Nigerian developer only cares about their profits, and it stands. So it's I think it's more of a marketing tool because they just greenwash. It's greenwashing
I think
basically.
yes.
Yes, so it's kind of far away from what essentially ESG is. But you can shed more light and let's also have.
I think I saw one of our policies in Nigeria, right, that covers. That was talking about reducing our carbon credits. The Climate Change Act.
Yeah.
It's talking about by 2060. I've forgotten the percentage of the carbon credits, like in terms of percentage, right? But when I saw 2060, I was calculating 2025. We're talking about 35 years from now.
Exactly.
I mean, okay, I understand it's not maybe so feasible, but when we have policies that are very elongated, many times should permit to use the word the energy, the actions to implement these things are not really implemented, right? I mean, there should be a form of enforcement because the truth of the matter is, just like the statistics you stated from the beginning of it, how that buildings emit
7%.
how many percent?
37.
That's huge. So these are things that we need to look at. If we are claiming that, we need to become more climate conscious, we are coming up with climate change act and all that. These are things that need to be enforced. So I would say that I don't really think that developers really are really focusing on ESG, right? Because when it comes to ESG, you're not just talking about, it's not even just about the climate. It's that's one part of it, but it's social.
Sure.
And what are you doing for the people within the environment your constructions are in, right? Employment, we could talk about employment. How many of them are you applying? You even paying most of these guys, so your laborers and all that well, right? Then what are the policies you are actually following? So these are very important key things, and I don't think that is really fully enforced yet in Nigeria. Do you understand? So I would just say that regarding the ESG, I still think for now it's just a marketing tool. You know, it sounds cliche, it sounds intelligent, it sounds sweet in the air. Oh, we are ESG compliant. But if you check,
are you really ESG compliant?
I think I saw a company, I'm not going to mention the name, right? A very big company, and they were saying, part of their ESG policy was to do, CSR was a part of their ESG, right? And what did they do? I think they just went to a school and gave some textbooks and that. It's good. But I mean, in my head, I was like, as a company as big as you are, this should not be what you should be doing. There are bigger things that you could do to speak to ESG, to it is making life more better. So I would just say, I think it's still marketing too, but well, we cannot be discouraged. I still think there are still some few companies who will not take them out of it, right? That's still doing things in line with that.
Yeah, certainly. So I think we should really look forward to having those things implemented by every developer and also something that all investors should look out for.
Very true.
Exactly. So the next question is, we're going to delve into real-world examples of what sustainable buildings or green buildings look like. So can we just explore some success stories or examples of green buildings?
Yeah.
So looking at the success stories here, we have two standout buildings that are LEED certified here in Nigeria.
Really?
I was shocked when I found out too, but they actually certified. One of them is Nest Oil Tower in Lagos. So that was developed by Julius Berger. It was certified by the LEED, and the LEED had to complement more, stating that all the construction materials and everything used was energy efficient.
Wow.
And waste was managed properly.
Wow.
Exactly. And also coming down here to Abuja too, we have one of their landmark subsidiary, which is the Prime Tech. It was also developed sustainably. It's also certified as a sustainable and green building project.
Wow.
So from the building to the environment, everything breeds sustainability.
Wow.
With green areas, with solar panel powered buildings.
Yeah.
You know, that's one aspect of renewable energy we always look at. To great installations. These are distinct features that these two buildings have, and I think we have hope. So as much as we can have these big towers speaking sustainability, because I think one excellent feature that we see all around us is solar energy. So yes, all these buildings are solar powered, and I think that's one thing that stands out with the two buildings.
I think I agree with what you're saying, right? I mean, looking at those two examples, and these are so it shows that we can be confident that it's happening, right? And these are things that we could say more people would key into, because now we can see success stories and how that from scratch to from bottom to top of these buildings, right? We could see that they are sustainable.
So now let's bring it home, right? We've heard the success stories of others. But what is Mshel Homes doing to actually achieve the eco-friendly status? So I think one of our flagship projects at the moment is Hutu Exclusive. Hutu Exclusive. The next thing you hear is eco-friendly. You hear green areas. You hear different things. So I just want you to inform our viewers the idea of sustainability and green building Mshel Homes is trying to bring into the real estate landscape. Yes.
I think I like the taglines. You will hear Hutu Exclusive, then you'd see the end of it says live, play, relax. And truly, I think that's the definition of eco-friendly living, right? A place where you could stay, you could come out. Even permit to use the air you breathe is sustainable. You know. So I think I'm just for Hutu Exclusive, right? I think this is a flagship. Not that it's a flagship project from Mshel Homes, right? Where we are bringing eco-friendly living, right, to the city of Abuja. And this is not greenwashing, because you could check from the amenities, the things that would be in this estate. I mean, from the green area to the lake, to the golf, centralized water system, the energy efficiency that's leveraging solar system. I mean, these are amazing things that I think I look forward to the completion of how that place looks like. So Hutu Exclusive is actually the next big thing, you know, when it comes to eco-friendly living. And I kid you not, it's what everyone should, you know, look into.
You're certainly. I think if there's one project I can give all my money to, it's definitely Hutu Exclusive.
You know.
So imagine waking up, but you're feeling like it's already vacation living. But you know that's legit the present. That's how life should be.
Actually.
That's actually how life should be. Living sustainably, having plants around, having fresh air.
My kids are safe.
Do you understand?
They can come out, and I'm sure about the environment they're in.
Yes. So the next thing is, it's okay to have sustainable projects.
Okay.
But like, how can developers balance sustainability and profitability? Because, you know, they'll be like, no, don't get me wrong, sustainability is actually very expensive.
Actually.
If you want to get the tools, even if you want to install common solar in your house, you will know how much of a financial burden it is.
Yeah.
So like, how can these developers balance sustainability and profitability?
So I think I would say, right, about that, one, it's going to be very hard, but the government can help us close this gap by providing incentives, you know, to sustainable buildings, to developers who are keen in sustainability, right? Because I think there are even, if you check, there are a couple of fundings when it comes to sustainable real estate that even they can benefit on, so that their profit is not. Because another idea would have been to, add it to the value of the house. But don't forget, we're trying to talk about affordable housing. At the end of the day, if you're building a house and only 0.001% can afford it. So I think to mitigate this cost and still maintain the profitability that accrues to developers, I think I would really say the government needs to do a lot of things, needs to help. And they can also leverage external fundings if they are sure they want to really build an eco-friendly space, a sustainable property, a sustainable estate. Yeah.
Yes. I certainly agree with you where the government comes in, but also at the same time, I'm also looking at awareness. Yes, awareness for your buyers so that you don't feel like you're building sustainable projects and there's no one to key into them.
Actually.
Exactly. So if you make them aware that this is not any kind of investment, this is a long-term investment, because sustainable projects are actually very easy to maintain and they are resilient, they stand long-term. That's why it's called sustainability, right? So having to inform your buyers, having to inform your clients that key into this, and you still make your profit at the end of the day. You're still making sustainable projects, but you're also getting
I think I agree with you.
in every form. So I think that's a major gap. I also look at education, awareness. People should know that this is where the world is heading to.
True.
So I've said a lot about sustainability and how it can come down to Nigeria, how it can be implementable in Nigeria. But like, what do you think are the challenges Nigerian developers face when going green?
I think a conference that GBC, and that's Green Building Council of Nigeria, held a few months back, they outlined, of course, the obvious costs. I mean, it's costly. It is cost is prohibitive going green actually, because the cost of it, and the reason because it's not an everyday thing. So most of these materials you need to use are not produced every day or anywhere. They are produced by specific people, right? So the cost itself is a gap. It's like a big issue for developers, right? Then one of the things that I found profound in this Green Building Council of Nigeria conference was the fact that not every developer understands sustainability, what green building means. They don't even know what are the integrity, what are the things that you can put in, or what are the things you need to design. The truth of the matter, solar is good, but it's actually beyond infusing solar into your houses. Because the moment you put solar in your house, you say, oh, it's not a green building. That's not green building. That's just one of the amenities, right? So I think there's a knowledge gap. There's a need for developers to educate themselves properly to understand what green building really is. So I think I would just take two: costs and then knowledge gap. Those are like the two, I think I would say, two challenges that developers really face when it comes to going green. And okay, expanding on even the education, even down to people, the laborers, the workers, people that would help, implementing these things. Some of them don't really understand what it is. So there's a need for a proper education on the spirit of green building.
Yes, you're certainly right. When it comes to cost and knowledge gap, it's like the major challenges we are currently seeing being faced by Nigerian developers to go green and all. So to wrap it up, what is one thing that stands out for you in the Nigerian real estate sector?
One that stands out is the growth, to be honest. I mean, the growth of the real estate sector has been massive in the last 5 years.
Yes.
Year on year, month on month growth. Like there hasn't been a year so far where we say the real estate industry had a dip. I mean, currently, according to the current GDP, it's based on nominal, the real GDP was number 3 and nominal GDP was number 1, right? I mean, it contributed 13.03% to so number one thing I'm going to say is just the growth. And now that's, it gives us a glimpse into how much and how well real estate is a very good place to invest in. And then why this conversation about sustainability is important, because now it's like a trend. It's like one of the happening industries. But now it's going to take some disruption and a little of shift towards sustainability. And that's one key. So for me, one of my key takeaways, right, one of the things I would say stands out for me is the growth and the fact that there's still a lot to explore, right, especially within the Nigeria context. And people who are ready to go into and take disruptive steps, come up with strategies, right, that can help them achieve profitability. You get, this is the time to do it, not when it has become a big deal so far. So I think this I'm just going to say the arrow and then the fact that there's still a lot to explore in real estate.
No, you're certainly right. The fact that when I heard real estate, the third subsector,
trust me,
in the Nigerian economy, I was like,
whoa.
Hey. But like, you're right, with the growth, we can see it. But one of my fear is there has been immense growth.
Yeah.
But have there been the right policies put in place to ensure that this growth is being maintained? Because that's one thing about booming sectors.
Yeah.
Once they're not efficient, policies actually keep everything in check. Everything crashes down.
True.
That's one thing. So basically,
Yeah.
the government should put in policies in place
Yeah.
to ensure that everything falls
In place. All right. All right.
Thank you so much, Prince Oji, for joining us today.
Thank you, Safina Zoka, for having me today.
And to our viewers, thank you for joining us. Please kindly like, share, and comment. Thank you.